championship point. Alcaraz fired up. He's buzzing with energy. You can feel it through the screen. Djokovic bouncing it, getting ready to serve. 3 hours and 2 minutes into the match, and he serves wide into the net. A second serve, championship point for Alcaraz. Look for him to really attack, especially if he gets a serve to the forehand. Djokovic serves, kick up the middle, backhand up the middle. Djokovic goes long with the forehand. He's done it. He's done it.
Me and Fergus were right in 4 sets.
Yeah. See, that's why you got to listen to the youth, people. You guys called it. Djokovic looks none too pressed that he didn't get it done
that's
there.
Good. That's good sportsmanship, that.
It is, and I think he knows. I think he knows that at this point, Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner, they should beat him. They're in their athletic primes. They are the 2 best players in the world. And Djokovic, what an achievement to make it to another final at 38, to beat Jannik Sinner in 5 sets. But at the end of the day, Alcaraz simply is a better player. Oh, and there he is.
Yeah, it was just a step too far for Djokovic there. He defied the odds to win against Sinner, and this was just out of his control.
Also, if you're Alcaraz, you win your first tournament without Juan Carlos Ferrero, and that pretty much shuts up annoying questions that were otherwise going to be inevitable. John, in solidarity, I'm going backwards hat now with you.
Great, thank you. By the way, Zach, I got a question for you first. Which was the more impressive performance today? Carlos Alcaraz on Rod Laver or Daisy on Talking Tennis?
Daisy on Talking Tennis, no doubt in my mind.
I think Daisy smashed it in straights.
Agreed. Alcaraz struggled at points throughout the match. Daisy at no point in time struggled. So Daisy,
exactly.
What a great first broadcast. John really threw you into the fire with the finals match.
Yeah, true. Thrown in the fire, but actually, Zach, you and I both know it's a lot easier doing a slam final between Alcaraz and Djokovic or Alcaraz and Sinner, even if it's a 5-set, and I know it's epic, than it is doing Liam Brody against Jaime Faria in a 250 qualifier, which you're looking at that number at the top there, which currently says 132, and it's reading like 3, and no one's saying for 20 minutes.
I did it. I can't remember which one it was. I think maybe I did a match with Eddie where we had like 7 people watching. And no comments in the chat, and I just was off the rails because it was like, okay,
at least it was you and Eddie. Sometimes you got people on their own and they're doing that, and of course you and I, Zach, in particular, we know one person who was a genius at that, and sadly no longer. But that's the tough one. But anyways, Daisy, what did you make of that match today?
Yeah, I feel like obviously, Djokovic played well in the first set, but I feel like after that, I don't know, it felt like the momentum was with Carlos. I just didn't see Djokovic really, challenging.
There was a chance, but I agree with Zach on that if it did go to a tiebreak, then it might have just gone to a 5th. But go on, carry on, Dave.
I think the match got better as it went on. It was definitely more of a contest in the final set. But ultimately, Alcaraz was just too good.
Your thoughts, Zach?
Yeah, I think that was not Carlos Alcaraz's A game. That was somewhere between his B, maybe B plus game, but it was a B level performance from him. And it was good to see Djokovic get the first set. He looked good to start, but it never really felt in question after Alcaraz evened the score. I think him and Jannik Sinner are just that much better than everybody else right now. And sometimes Zverev can push them, and sometimes Djokovic can push them and even win. But they're just in a class of their own. There's no big 3 right now. It's a big 2. And I would love to see Djokovic steal one more major. But this did feel to me like his last best chance. I think I would not count him out at Wimbledon. Maybe the U.S. Open. But the French, I don't think he's got another one of those in him.
Especially because you're going to be going 4 and 5 sets on clay, and he's not going to get to that many walkovers and stuff like that again. But clay is the most grueling of all the slams physically. So,
so I think I think Djokovic retires after the U.S. Open this year. I think if he can't win another major, I don't see why he would take that time away from home. I think he loves.
Maybe, but he keeps talking about the Olympics in 2020, and I think also, Zach, it depends on how he does. Like if he gets to another Wimbledon final but doesn't win it, he'll be thinking, well, I want to get 25, and if he's still enjoying it, and which he said after Athens last year, and you saw him win a 250 in Athens last year, and he was almost as happy as winning a slam.
Yeah, I mean,
go on, Daisy.
Yeah, I mean, getting to the final of the Australian Open, I think that's just going to motivate him.
Absolutely.
For the rest of the season, definitely. Obviously it's disappointing to, lose in the final, but before the tournament, I think that's a pretty good outcome.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Just looking at some of the stats, by the way, most of the metrics, the important ones anyway, are just going the way of Carlos, just by a few percent here and there. And that was basically the difference. I mean, so first serves won, 77% Carlos, 66 Novak. Second serves won, 57% to 53. The one element that may have seen us go to a fifth set would have been the breakpoint opportunities that Carlos had but wasn't able to take. That was becoming a bit of a theme. Carlos winning 118 points to 106 from Novak. So, yeah, he was just a bit better in each department. I thought today, by the way, Carlos in that, I mean, I know the scoreline obviously says it as well, but I was watching Carlos in that first set, and it was he that was the sort of slow starter, which is a bit unusual for Carlos. And there was one fear I had for Carlos coming into this match, was there was obviously a huge profile that had been built because of what happened on Friday, the nature of Carlos's win, but of course the way Novak won and the fact that Novak's going for 25. I thought there was a build up to this, a little bit like the French Open semi that these guys had 3 years ago, and we know how the pressure got to Carlos that day, causing him to cramp. But then I started to think about it more, Zach, and I thought actually all the hype today is actually really about Novak. And I thought maybe that might just help Carlos relax a little bit. And although I don't think he was tense at the beginning, but he was missing a lot of forehands. Novak was unerringly accurate, like he was he started today like he finished his match against Yannick Novak, especially with the forehands. Interestingly, I think there was a huge point that Novak missed on the forehand in this match. I can't remember which one it was now exactly, but he went just long. It might have been a break of serve in the third set. I'm not sure. But and it was like, okay, it's just not quite firing just as well as it was against Yannick. And go on, Zach.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. I mean, so 4 semifinals last year. So he did in theory, or not in theory. He improved upon all 4 major results last year here.
Yeah.
I don't believe that he beat either Alcaraz or Sinner in a major last year. He did beat Sinner, and so at the age of 38,
you were just, so I'm interrupting, and I want you to finish both that and address this. You sort of touched on it before without saying it explicitly. Back to beating these guys back to back. It's like going through Rafa and Novak, or Roger and Novak, or whatever.
And then, I mean, I think there's guys that can beat one of them. Djokovic still being one. I think Zverev maybe on the right day. Pretty short list, but I mean, the list of people that can beat both back to back, like, I don't know, Shelton if he's playing perfectly, Draper if he's playing perfectly, maybe. Lerner Tien on a pretty good day, but it's a really, really, really short list. I mean, but Djokovic, again, at 38, he has shown improvement in a meaningful sense over his results last year. So certainly, I mean, he can continue to make the second week of majors until 2028. No doubt in my mind. Will he get a win between now and then? I would be pleasantly surprised, but surprised.
Yeah, I'm the same, but I don't want Novak to clip this and say we're writing him off, because that's what he's saying about. I've actually not heard a single journalist or expert or even fan. I've heard some fans write him off, but I've not heard a single one. Like, we might predict. I predicted a Yannick Sinner win. That doesn't mean. I'm just saying what I've seen in the tournament so far, which included him being 2 sets to love down to Yannick Sinner. So. Yeah. Anyway, final words from you, Daisy, on either today's match or either of these two players going forward. I mean, actually, I want to come to Carlos in a moment, but you can talk about Novak if you want.
Final words.
Just tell us about Carlos's achievement. I mean, I got some of the stuff there on the screen with 7 majors won at the age of 22 and the youngest person ever to complete the career slam in front of Rafa Nadal as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's an incredible achievement, and I mean, I wouldn't expect anything less from him. I mean, his ability, like I think we were saying earlier, I think it's only like replicated of Federer, like the sort of natural ability and the gifts he possesses. It's just extraordinary. And yeah, I mean, I couldn't have thought of anyone else that would really achieve all of that by 22. But yeah, I think he's just going to continue that way. And I don't know if he'll get to as many slams as Djokovic has, but you never know at this rate.
Well, he's on course at this rate, but all sorts of things can go wrong. But yes, 7 in basically 5 years on the tour. Yeah, that's and he's obviously got the rest of this season to go. Zach, what about something insane that hasn't been done in decades? What about a calendar slam?
I mean, I would say don't drink water around Carlos Alcaraz because he might be able to turn it into wine. I mean, there's nothing that he can't do.
It depends on what you want. If you're super thirsty and you're on your last legs, then maybe don't. But if you fancy a wine, then sure.
I mean, look, I would like to see him around a body of water because he might be able to walk on it. I think, look, he just won the career Grand Slam at 22. That means that he's got realistically a minimum of 8 seasons, if he stays healthy, where he will be in his prime. You know, that the new prime is extended to at least 30. Djokovic, Federer, Nadal showing can get extended to 35. 13 shots at it. I think realistically, Sinner pushes him and plays well enough that it would be very difficult for him to do it if Sinner is healthy. But if Sinner has a down year or, unfortunately, maybe an injury, I just don't see who can beat him right now in a major besides Sinner. So I actually think that he will win a calendar year slam. I think the question to me is, will he win a golden slam?
At some point in their careers, Yannick or Carlos will win one.
Yes.
And it might be this year for Carlos, for example. I mean, he's already got the tricky one out of the way in terms of the one that he'd never been past the quarters at, the one where he probably wasn't always best prepared for, or his opponents better were, such as Novak in particular, or just the fact that there may have been something about the court speed or the conditions, don't know. It might even be just a feeling you have when you walk into an environment where you've won before on successive occasions. I know Indian Wells is somewhere that he performs well at, and I think he'll continue to do that and that sort of thing. So that can have an effect. But the other thing is unlike Rafa and to some extent Novak and Roger as well with the French, there wasn't this lengthy pursuit of one particular slam that they couldn't get over the line at or needed to improve at. Actually, Rafa, funny enough, ticked off Wimbledon before he ticked off the US Open. He ticked off the AO before he ticked off the US Open as well.
Yeah.
But the US Open ended up being a pretty successful environment for Rafa. But it was Wimbledon where we saw him struggle at the beginning, get better, get closer. But we've seen Carlos basically be ready to win every slam already, if that makes sense. I mean, he was already ready to win an Australian Open. It just needed one or two things to happen, and they happened, I think, this fortnight. As for the calendar slam, I think, unlike most other players in history, I mean, Pete Sampras could probably still be playing French Opens today and still wouldn't win one. And there's players that just never were going to win Wimbledon, greats on clay, Carlos Moya or I'm just trying to think, Guy Curtin or these players that have been to French Open finals, and you just knew that they would never be going that far at Wimbledon. So, I think it'll happen at some point because also, of course, the surface is being a lot more aligned these days, et cetera, et cetera.
John, book it. Carlos Alcaraz is going to win the Golden Slam in 2032. Take that to the bank.
2032, not 20. Where are the Olympics in 2032? Somewhere Brisbane, I think.
Oh, really? Oh, let's
think
see.
so. So it'll be hard for Brisbane. What about LA in 2028? I think that's also a possibility. But
I think if Carlos has settled down and has a special someone in his life to keep him focused on the straight and narrow, he's got a great shot to win it in LA. Otherwise, a lot of distractions. A lot of beautiful people in LA for both the men and the women and everybody in between.
the narrative, by the way, and I'm happy for either of you to just address this, by the way. I know I kept saying the final word, but I've always got something else. The narrative about Juan Carlos Ferrero is very interesting because if Alcaraz didn't win the tournament, and obviously the earlier he goes out, the bigger the rumor mill. But and the narrative.
Did he make a mistake?
But even if he just lost today, because there'll be some sort of tactic that they would point to. But he's won it, and I think that the narrative there might well now justify the decision to move on, as well as he did, obviously, with Juan Carlos Ferrero by his side. Daisy, you want to add anything to anything that Zach and I have said?
I think you've covered a lot. Obviously, Carlos doesn't really have a assigned coach right now.
Not in the sort of permanent situation, no.
Do you think he will, or do you think he'll just continue sort of what he has now?
Might just carry on. I mean, why fix something that isn't broken? Yeah, of course. Today,
also, it's an economics thing, right?
Like final. Go on, Zach.
You pocket more money, right? Like he makes more money not having a coach. His brother, who he loves, makes more money with him not having a coach, and so the economics of it, it's like selling a house. If you can do it without a real estate agent, don't pay the commission. I do want to comment on what Nils Rathid put on screen. Is that a subscriber? Before I say this,
sorry, I don't know who Nils is. I know Snarehill. You mean Snarehill?
No, Nils on the Jose Morgado post there has commented. This match hugely diminishes the center performance. Endurance and attrition are major parts. That's the dumbest comment I think I've seen in months. That is an outrageous, like you have managed to get an opinion wrong, Nils. Congratulations. In no way, shape, or form does this diminish the center performance. That's ridiculous. I am embarrassed that somebody came to that conclusion for them. If they're a subscriber, sorry. I hope they're not anymore. That's just such a bad take. I cannot get off this stream without addressing it. The semifinal performance was remarkable. To even suggest it's diminished makes me upset. And like I do agree with Snahill. It is strange and it's hard watching Djokovic right now as the runner-up because we've never seen this before. But also he's 38 years old. He had a heck of a run. He is doing stuff that almost nobody's ever been able to do at his age. He should be proud of himself, proud of his performance, and just can't disagree any more vehemently with Nils's comment on the Jose Morgado tweet there, if that wasn't clear.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really look at the comments. Normally, I sort of try and zoom in on a tweet to hide the comments because sometimes they can be pretty offensive, but I didn't even pay attention there. Or sometimes there might be a video I'm worried that we might get a YouTube strike for, so I sort of zoom in on the quote itself. So just quickly here, Bastian Fashana's tweet. Federer won his first Australian Open at 22 in his fifth main draw. Nadal won his first Australian Open at 22 in his fifth main draw. Sinner won his first Australian Open at 22 in his fifth main draw. And you guessed it, Carlos Alcaraz did exactly the same. So it's obviously his fifth appearance in Melbourne, I suppose. Yes. All right, guys. Daisy, wonderful debut.
Thank you. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Zach, as always, anything but your debut.
Thanks for having me as always. And Daisy, it was a pleasure being in the booth with you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Likewise.
And Baby Archie.
Good luck in Australia. Maybe next year you'll cover it live when John gets press passes for the majors.
Maybe.
Yeah, when we get that elevated. Go on, Daisy. Sorry.
Pardon?
No, I was just going to say, by the way, Zach said, nice to join you in the booth. And I'm just waiting for him to appear behind your curtains or something behind and go, "Way, I'm here all along." But yeah, okay. On that slightly unusual bombshell, I'm going to bring this stream to an end. Big thanks to you guys.
And John, thank you as always. And thanks also to the chat. The chat was fantastic today. We love an engaged chat. It makes our jobs easier and also just more fun. So shout out to Ghosty, shout out to Snahill, shout out to Jake Davies, who's probably asleep now, but was on for a little bit, and Jane and the whole crew, and the fella from Belgium as well.
All right. Thanks, guys. And yeah, everybody else for joining the chat in particular. That was fantastic. And you know the drill when I find the video. Here we go. Johnny boy should be set. There we go. Ciao, everyone. Bye-bye. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.